Oh wow. Hi. Um, I might draw a picture. I don't know. I'm pretty tired. Um, but I thought I'd do it anyway. People wanted to come on there, whatever. Um, I put the link on the event page, and well, give me a second. I'm tired. I'm sorry. It's not that it was a bad day. It's just a tired day. Oh, so okay, there that is, and there that is. I will put the link in the chat here. There. Let's see. Okay. It's taking forever. No, kitty. Damn it. Of course, tell them no. They do it anyway. Gotta love a kitty. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Now it started. Ah! No, kitty. Ah! Stop. God damn it. Silly cat. Ow. Them claws hurt, honey. She missed me. Oh, shit. Let me fix this. It's way far away. Okay. That's better. That's out of fluid. Yay. Um. Okay. Yeah. There. There's that. There. I'm sorry. I'm like I said. I'm tired. So. Art is freedom. Yes, it is. But right now, I don't feel like arting. So. Uh, uh, if anybody else wants to come on and talk about whatever, that's cool. Because I might do one later, but I'm tired. I ain't been home for like an hour and a half. Uh, I said no. See, that's about 3:30, something like that. But anyway, uh, I don't think I'll get to do a painting. This cat's like made herself at home here, so uh, maybe I don't know. Hey, whoever's watching. Uh, oh yeah, I had something to eat sitting there. I totally forgot about. Um, there. Good thing it's something the cats don't like, so or it would then be ate. So, oh yeah. Oh, damn. Okay. Uh, oh, close that actually. Oops. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Okay. It's gonna be really boring. So I'm tired. Hey, there's Eric. Awesome. Can you hear me? Hello. Okay. We'll give him a minute there. Oh, hello. Had an interesting day at work. There's this one little old man. The one that's the musician. He kept following me around everywhere today. It was so cute. He was dressed up real nice and everything. But my first day, they said he hadn't had a shower in a week. And I'd been there maybe 2 hours or so, and he came up to me and said, "Could you tell somebody I want to take a shower?" They tried all day. That day, well, yeah, it was like midday. They tried all day to get him to take a shower, and he came to me and said, "I want to take a shower." I said, "Okay, I'll tell them. I can't give you a shower." But it's so cute. He keeps asking me if I have a boyfriend and stuff like that. So it's sweet. And he played his guitar for me today. So that was neat. It's good that he can still remember. Okay. He can, it's, hello, it's good. But it was so cute all day and trying to help me and stuff, do my work. I'll help you. I'll help you. And I'm like, that's okay. I gave him my lighter yesterday because he's sitting there with two lighters going, he couldn't light nothing, wasn't doing nothing. So I gave him my lighter. And somebody else had apparently gave him a lighter too because he had two today. So two Bics. He keeps talking about Bics. So, oh, that's so funny. Sorry, Kitty. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, I was uploading a video on my phone. I totally forgot about it. I think I posted it, but I was outside taking trash, smoking, and heard the birds. You know, it's right on the lake, and I heard a bird I hadn't never heard before. So that was pretty cool. What else? Trying to think. There's something else I can't think of. I'm totally lost. Like I said, I'm really tired. So, um, then got another day tomorrow, and then off 2 days. Yay! Um, and by the second day, I'll feel like doing stuff, and then I gotta go right back. That's the way it goes. Though, so, anyway, at least payday is the 6th. So, it's about like twice a month. That's the only thing that sucks. But, hey, 90 days, I'll get a raise. Yay! And like my other job that I had where I didn't get a raise in 3 fucking years. And the thing about this place, every day you get told thank you by the people you're helping, and they did, but they're just like saying it because they have to, good job, like that's gonna make me work any harder for them, but these people, they actually appreciate every little any little thing you do for them, because it's like they're stuck there by their families. I can understand some of them they can't take care of, but some of them, I'm like, ain't much wrong with these people. Why ain't they with their families? And it's really sad. You know, but that's why I like it so much, because and like today, there's this one dude. I told him I'd make him a CD. He loves music, and it was the Rolling Stones "Steel Wheels" album. And I was like, I'll make it for you. Ain't no problem. That made his day. I was like, awesome. He got it, and he's like, went right to his room. He's in a wheelchair, and he just totally skipped breakfast. I'm like, wow. That's so awesome. So, Eric, how you doing?
I'm fine. Just,
Cool.
Back listening to you. I was sitting back listening to you.
Oh. Hey, guys. Firecat Aces. Hi, guys.
Yeah. Say hello to everybody. Hello, everybody. Oh boy. So you like your new job, huh?
Yeah, I like it, but I didn't want to go back to work. But it's doing something that helping people. So it's not like it's a meaningless job like my other job.
Right. So are you doing it for the money?
Well, I have to, but I would do that anyway. Volunteering. Some people do that, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd do it and not get paid. But that's the law.
What is it, like a nursing home or something like that?
Yeah, it's like a care home. That's what I get. It's Lake James Lodge. It's a lodge place. Ow, no, kitty. No.
Oh, all right. Where you can go in and relax and be comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they can check out, get checked out, and leave whenever they want to leave. Some of them, So.
Sound like you had a secret admirer.
Yeah, I know. It's sweet. Actually, more than one. So. Yeah.
They must have been watching your bird videos.
I don't know. I don't think they watch YouTube. But it's so sweet, these people. And they're genuine, they really mean it when they tell you thank you and things like that. So
no doubt.
But yeah, I like it there. Like I said, I feel more appreciated somewhere like that. Because it's like my other job. It was like serving rich people, more or less. And here you're serving people. People I remember from around town. So, like one or two of them, I remember when I worked in fast food, they used to come in a lot. So weird. It's kind of weird in a way, like, wow, I just remember them like 8 years ago. They were just fine, and boom. They're not even that old, some of them, they're like close to my age, maybe a few years older, younger, Thank you, kitty. But yeah.
As long as it's because in some cases a job's purpose is not to make you happy, it's to make you money.
Yeah.
But if it creates,
well, it does both.
but if it creates happiness for you,
Mhm.
then appreciate it, because
Yeah,
most stuff don't create its own happiness.
yeah,
You
yeah.
have to create it.
And it's a double thing there. You're making others happy and yourself. Something
Yeah,
like that, you know. Like today, this one dude, he had two pillows. One was like a little piece of shit pillow. I mean, it was like it was nothing, you know. And I'm like, he's like, could you get me another pillow? And I was like, yeah, I think there's one back there. And I went back and got him one, you know. That made him happy, you know, because he had that little piece of shit pillow, you know. Uh, and man, just little things, you know, little things really matter to you when you're somewhere like that, you know. The littlest thing, like a pillow, can make your day or whatever, you know.
yeah. So, a little anything can make your day.
Hmm.
What you want?
Yeah,
A
right.
little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, but don't start giving out cigarettes. That's the one thing, because it'll, yeah, it never ends.
They go. Once they find out you smoke and you giving them away, oh yeah,
Yeah, I'll tell.
yep.
This is all I brought with me. I got a
You
little
got
case. I'm like, this is all I brought with me. When I had more in my jacket, I'm like, this is all I brought. I brought three with me. You know, I hate to be like that, but you know, they've got their own supply, so and you know they got to ask for them. You know, that's why they bum too. So
yeah, no doubt. It's not easy being greasy. I mean things are tough for people everywhere.
yes,
And then when you get the older you get, the tougher it gets.
pressure. Yes, it does. That's true.
You know, but work is gonna always be what it is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's why we come to America, not to relax, but to work. That's what America is for. You know, work. This is a place of business.
Mm-hmm. Hey, look who our CEO is.
The golden boy himself.
The one who likes to fire people.
Yeah, no doubt. I looked on the CNN news, and they said that he wasn't going to the correspondence dinner. You know, the one where
Yeah,
everybody make jokes of you and shit. They pretty much roast your ass.
yeah.
So, you know, he decided not to go, and I understand, because right now they would tear you up something terrible.
Oh
You know,
yes.
and this in your face. It ain't like Saturday Night Live where it's Alec Baldwin playing you as a sketch. You know,
Right.
hilariously funny.
Right.
Yeah, the correspondence then is, well, that's where the media and everybody come to get their donations and all that
Yes.
other kind of stuff. So because he's beefing with the media, that's another reason why
Yes.
he's not going to show up. It's like that's really your time to put a spin on things, because you got them right there in your face.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pretty much, you know,
Yeah.
but hey, hey, he. I think when they get finished painting this picture, it will be a form of art. I don't know if it's going
Mm.
to be freedom though, but,
No.
you
No.
know,
The opposite. It'll be
yeah,
quite the opposite.
yeah,
So
you know, to you know, because you know we love to you know, to do our marijuana thing and everything like that. You know, our medical marijuana, or however you
yeah.
want to label it. but the Attorney General Jeff Sessions just came in there and put a stop to all that which we've been fighting to get.
Of course.
Yeah, he came in and put an end to it and said, nope, the feds say no, so we say no. One time getting chased by the police, he caught me on the back porch. He caught me on my back porch, and he was like, if I find a seed back here, I'm going to lock your ass up, because seeds is a federal charge.
Stems too.
Yeah, so, you know, that's why we got the hold up here in Maryland, because you can have a plant, but the seeds is still illegal. So it's just like,
That's
how the
fucked
fuck
up.
the plant without the fucking seed?
Oh, shit. That's fucked up.
Well, Maryland's medical lab pretty much is being held up. Our growth lab is being held up because of that reason. So it's
Of
just
course.
like it's coming in and
You know,
changing.
they know it's beneficial for so many fucking different things. That's why they're doing this shit.
They
Like, hold
blame
on, Big Pharma's losing a lot of money. We got to stop this.
They're blaming the opiates. Spicer said because of the opiate addiction, that's why you got to crack down on all drugs. It's like, no,
That's bullshit.
no, the opiates ain't got nothing. Opiate addiction ain't got nothing to do with marijuana. Leave them two separated.
Okay, the people that goes to the methadone clinic, okay, the experience, he goes, you can't have no marijuana in your system.
Right.
Because they know it helps more than that fucking shit does. But they got these people hooked on that shit. And a lot of them don't want off of it. They love it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's a lifetime product.
Yeah.
It was meant for other things. It's just like Viagra. It was meant for one thing, but it ended up being used for another. So the same way with this.
Yeah.
Something else, but now they found out what it do to the body. It's like, man, we can use this to maintain you for life. You know?
Yep.
And it's like a lot of my friends, when we was coming up in the struggle, I just call it like that. When we was coming up in the struggle in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And it's like now, because of the program, you know, it's like swole for no reason. That you big and you ain't never worked out. No,
Right.
It's because of the product that you on. It's
Right.
pretty much like a steroid.
Yeah.
It swells you up.
Yeah. And that's what they prescribe for asthma too.
Yeah, it's pretty much like
Steroid.
a prednisone.
Yeah, prednisone. Yeah. Their cousin's on it. Yeah, and he's like you said, it swells you up.
I think I swole up and I ain't even on no prednisone.
That's called old age, Eric.
That's the doctor right now. He'd be like, "Did you take your medicine?" I would say, "Why?" He said, "Because you look like you swole up." Because yeah, I do weigh 91 pounds, and this is the biggest I've ever been, and I've always wanted to reach like 200. You know, I'm
back down to I don't know what weight I am, but I'm back down to the size of pants I was before I had kids. Because I changed the way I ate in the last 2 years.
So, my cousin said he stopped eating bread and he lost 15 pounds.
Yeah.
So stopped eating bread. I was just like, man, I had a sandwich before I came over here.
I try not to eat it, but sometimes I don't eat it as much as I used to. I used to eat it a lot, but now, knowing what I know, it's hard to break those old habits. You know, so.
It's like food is art. Our freedom, you
Yeah.
know, the right to be. I mean, that should be in the Constitution. You should have the right to eat what the fuck you want to eat.
As long as it's not Monsanto crap.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So
Syngenta and all that other nasty stuff.
You know, food is tremendous. Today, I was actually cutting potatoes for the first time as a participant in the Sunday's dinner.
Oh,
One
cool.
thing I found out about a potato is that you don't want to leave no brown eyes on a motherfucking potato.
Yeah,
So she was just like, look at my potato and look at your potato, right? She was
yeah,
like, mine's all white and yours is white, but it got brown spots on there because you missed some spots where you're supposed to cut at. So it was just like, which one would you want? I was just like, yeah, use the white potato. I guess I don't know if we was doing the black and white dog test or whatever, but I was like, yeah, give me the white potato. Brown one, with the one with the spots on.
yeah, yeah. No, like you said, food and art and food,
Yeah,
whatever. I remember
yeah,
where I worked before. This is one thing I like, about making salads. Because you can't. It looks like a work of art. There was some so good. I actually take pictures of. I'm like, wow,
right.
man, they're about to eat this, and it's so pretty, you know.
Yeah,
And like,
I
uh,
yeah. A matter of fact, I remember being a big time breakfast cook when I was a teenager, and I used to put my eggs and my bacon in triangles and circles,
yeah,
making the plate. And I was just thinking, were forms of art.
yes,
If you look now in this day and time, a plate like that would cost you like $50 because the way it's set up now
yeah,
is somewhat type of cuisine.
fancy,
Yeah,
gourmet.
it's fancy.
Hey, David.
So,
Hi there. How's it going? I just heard the word methadone mentioned, and I saw a Hangout link, so here I am.
yeah,
Just hi. Just mention a couple of things about. I mean, methadone. I know and have known an awful lot of people who have gone from heroin to methadone, and one person I know very well. Says that it has more of a grip on him than heroin even did in the
Yes,
first place.
yes, yes.
Also, a recurring theme that people keep saying around here is a sort of statistic where your life expectancy on a daily dose of methadone is 15 years.
Yes.
And I have actually met people, not very many. There was one Spanish guy I met many years ago who turned up in Norway. He'd been in Germany. He needed to distance himself from the entire kind of the peoples. He needed to get away from it all. So he kind of went to
Right.
Germany and just hung out in the woods. He went through. He took
Self
what he needed
detox.
with him to the woods. Went through the abstinences. It took him about 2 weeks of heavy abstinences, and then he'd been heroin free and methadone free. He didn't take that route at all. And when I met him, he'd been off heroin for, I think it was 2.5, 3 years. And
Wow.
that was just raw willpower on his part, and just deciding to do it rather than going out with
Awesome.
the frying pan into the fire when it comes
Mm,
to, from heroin to methadone. He
mm,
actually, to me, he was one of the few examples I've come across who actually just gritted his teeth in a way and just went for it. And
mm,
yeah, what he was describing, I mean, the abstinences aren't funny at all. And it's
mm.
not strange that people are addicted to it in the first place. But it's funny, isn't
Right.
it, how, certain intelligence agencies have been caught sometimes, well, I mean, I've actually, I wonder if you can still see photographs on the net of NATO forces in Afghanistan guarding the poppy fields.
Yeah, I've seen
So,
them. Yeah.
is you may ask yourself the question: is that another aspect of the whole point of going into Afghanistan in the first place? And
Mm.
heroin wars have gone throughout history, opium
I would say
wars, and
yes.
China and India and all sorts of other places. So. But then what are they giving you instead as the answer? You've gone from the heroin pusher, you've gone from there, in many cases, now we're talking about methadone, so you've gone to the legalized synthesized version. So you've gone
Yes.
from potentially natural product, which of course often has a lot of mixed out with a whole load of other toxic rubbish, but to a synthesized version. But as far as I'm no pharmacist or anything, but as far as I know, as far as I understand it, you actually need the original opium so as to be able to synthesize it anyway. So what? So these pharmaceutical giants, unless I'm completely mistaken here, do actually need real poppies, real opium to make their synthetic opium anyway. So okay, so that means they can get hold of it, but no, we can't get hold of it. And you go from one drug pusher on the streets to another licensed pusher.
Yes.
Of methadone, and those who well, yeah, no, I mean, I've been, you know, in the music kind of thing. You meet a lot of people who are into like heavy drugs and stuff, so it's and in this area alone, I've known I still know many methadone users, and in some cases, I've seen that when you ask your doctor that you want to, you want to get off. You don't want to be a slave to the methadone necessarily any more than you were a slave to the heroin. The good thing about it is that you've potentially removed yourself from having to do criminal activity to get the massive amounts of money it costs to feed your heroin habit in the first place. So that can be a good thing, but then. A certain person I know, he's saying that his doctor will not help him reduce the dose. What he wants to do, like some do, gradually reduce the dose instead of going cold turkey, and succeed in getting completely off this stuff.
They'll up you before they'll down you.
There you go. So it is possible to get off it. It is possible to be completely both heroin and methadone free. In case any users are out there, I've met people who have managed it and have been free from both for years. And and then there are these other traps. Is okay, we've got a new improved methadone, less side effects, and there's something called Subutex. I don't know if you have it in your neck of the woods, but they have
it's called Suboxone. It's called Suboxone here.
Oh yeah, that's yet another one. Yeah. Oh, there's one they're using here called Subutex, which, well, they say gives less side effects and stuff, but it's still just yet another keeping you hooked on something.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people around here, they go to the clinic to get off of opiates, the pills.
Yep.
And I'm like, that makes no fucking sense at all, because people see it as, oh, it's a quick, easy fix. No, it's not. You're going from, like you said, being hooked on one thing to being hooked on that, where the side effects, are worse than the other. Yeah.
That's true. That's the trap.
Yep.
Is to take it away from the streets, because like David said, the streets come with the crime, and if the government takes over, then I get the government line.
Mm-hmm.
And being and nobody, I think most methadone users is afraid of 5%. Because if you come in there and they only give you a sip to drink, your worst fears kick in. But the reason why I said that, because you never want to come down, like you said. I seen people go from 35% to 85 to 150, and I was just like, I thought you was trying to stop this.
Yeah.
But you claim there's so much pain. There's so much pain. I'm just like, really? So much pain? I mean, you got to go through some pain to come off.
Right.
But like I said, you're really afraid of not getting your weekends, and definitely being on 5% is the worst fear because, like you said, Rebecca, they would allow you to go up, but going up is the trap.
Yeah.
Once you get up in the 150s and almost to 200 milligrams, it's just like, man, you ain't thinking about coming off that stuff.
No, quite the opposite. More.
Yeah, one person I know, I mean, that they actually come to his house, or they do that around this neck of the woods. They'll come to your house, like a certain person I know, he gets 2 visits a day. They come with, I think he's on about 150 milligrams at the moment. And they'll come with that twice, but they'll stand there and watch you drink it down. You know, you can't just like put it on the shelf, take it when you like. You have to drink it now. You know, it's like, oh my God, what am I seeing here?
Yeah.
And again, he's not given the chance to gradually reduce the dose or anything, although he has reduced it a little bit. And then, like our friend here, Eric, is saying, yeah, I've seen that too. You know, it's from 150, and another guy I know in the other direction that he was on like 200 and something. I can't remember how much, 250 maybe. He managed. It took him several months to get down to 150, like with gradual reductions in the dose. And you could see when he was like slightly reducing the dose. I met him once when he's like trying to grin and bear it with a reduction in the dose, and he was having a hard time just with that slight reduction. I'm thinking, yeah, no, it's a real challenge. I know it's.
You got to think about it. What do you begin to chase? You begin to chase the ultimate nod, because heroin it would give you a nod, but nothing like methadone would do. You know, because like I said, you become a chaser of the nod. I've seen it happen to so many people in Baltimore City that, you know, it's just crazy. And the ad with that, they give you sleeping pills. Clonidine, Clonopin.
Yes, thank you.
All them kind of deans and pins they can pin to your ass.
Antidepressants too.
Yeah, and then you taking doses and all of these pills too. I'm just like, really? You need all of this? So some lower tab. You need all of this?
Yeah.
I don't think the body has all of that. You know, they never would give you a natural way to come off of heroin. You know, the natural way is to go cold turkey. You know, that's the best way, is to put your body and your mind through it, and you never want to go through that shit again.
That's the way I've always quit anything. Just, hey, I don't want to do this anymore.
Cold turkey.
You know,
that's the way to go. And just let your body go through it, because it'll heal itself eventually. You heal your spirit. See, the thing about it, you be concentrating on your body as opposed to your mind and your spiritual thinking. You know,
it's like that video David shared with me yesterday, and I shared on Google. It talks about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think it was what you said, Rebecca, when I talked about the vertigo to you the first time, and you was like, it was just some low energy, bad energy. So once I began, like I told you, the way I believe is the way I got in is the way I get out. So I got into the lowest part of the rim that I could reach into, and then when I came out of that, I was all right.
Yeah.
You know, maybe in some cases using dark magic ain't a bad thing.
Well, it's not dark. It's
the way you
magic. It's Now
I feel better though. You know, I feel much better having that low energy off me now. You know, it's all good, I guess.
I've known quite a few people who aren't with us anymore. And this is a recurring theme that I'm seeing again as well. Actually, two things here, because nearly all of the people I know who have been or are heroin addicts and or gone over to methadone all of them in one way or another didn't fit into this system, didn't feel like they wanted to be a working cog in the machine for one reason or another, or sometimes, of course, many reasons for that. And other recurring themes there are having, like another guy I know, he's describing the hell he went through as a child of sexual misuse and all sorts of, challenges already before he was already starting heroin at like the age of 14. It was the only way. I mean, he didn't know what else to do. He was suffering inside, emotionally, and he took that route. And when you're avoiding trying to avoid thoughts and feelings in yourself through your own sufferings. But this guy I'm talking about, basically, in essence, really, I mean, on the one hand, he's been punishing himself for things that others have done to him. And I mean, he sees that, but when you give it up, often those thoughts and feelings flood back, and then it can be good to get help from friends or family or friends or whoever to help you through those emotional aspects that you went into doing that in the first place. Like, I mean, I've never been doing heroin. I had my own escapism. I ended up playing fruit machines, which is nothing compared to being a heroin addict. But it was a form of escapism. I mean, I've been quite misuse of alcohol as well in my time. Also because I didn't really fit into the workings of this system, of this machine, and the things I went through at school and in other areas of life. I was also doing my form of trying to drown the pain, drown the thoughts, drown the pain, and then you realize, okay, and then you stop doing what you're doing, and those thoughts and feelings flood back, and it helps sometimes for some people anyway. It seems, I think it's logical too, that if you're lucky that you've got someone around you who has some understanding, or people that know someone, try to show some understanding, even though a heroinist may have done terrible things in his or her time or whatever, to feed the habit. That doesn't necessarily mean that person is evil in essence. It just means that habit had such a grip on that person that, well, I mean, what is the percent? I don't know what the so-called statistics are on break-ins here in Norway. It's like around 90% of all break-ins are done by people looking for their next dose. So, I mean, the guy I'm thinking of, he really is not an evil person at all. When you get to know him, you see that, those things he did before, that was the habit calling, and not the essence of his being originally and afterwards. So, people are very quick triggered to blame people for having done things that they regret, and try to see past that, and that I think most people have the potential to want to have a good and positive life, and in essence, and see these vicious circles where just you'll be labeled by society forever, for the rest of your life, unless society itself sees that what I'm trying to say here, really. I hope I explained that okay-ish. The labeling isn't going to help that person, I mean, that you get ostracized, and then you might even want to go back and get a job or try to, but they'll see that on your papers, and they're not going to make it easy for you to go into any type of job either. So it's just made so difficult for people. My heart goes out to all of these people who are, like you mentioned, OxyContin. I was watching a documentary about these mostly youth, who are completely, just destroying themselves on this OxyContin. But there again, this OxyContin was being sold on the black market. This wasn't coming from your doctor in this case, and I'm seeing a lot of that here in Norway too. cut a long story short, I've known quite a few alcoholics who have ended up, certain fellow turns up, offering them really heavy pharmaceuticals like not Ritalin, that's a different one. What do you call it? Ribotril. And then these people get so doped out. I mean, one guy I know, he drowned up in the river up the road here. And I mean, he was an alcoholic before that, but when someone tempted him with this Ribotril thing, and is mixing that with alcohol, we're seeing full zombification. He ended up just going full zombie and drowning himself in the river, you know. And I have to wonder, you know, is that person who's, you know, I'm not saying all of them, but you know, how come that person has such a consistent this, you know, black market pill pusher? It seems to have a consistent supply of these pharmaceuticals. And I have to wonder if it's some sort of an operative just to make sure, because half of the people I knew from the riverside down here when I moved here 8 years ago, more than half of them are dead now. It's like deliberate or not, that is the result nevertheless. And horrifying, really horrifying.
Say hello to everybody out there. Zach, Aces, Firecat, whoever else is watching there. Hello.
Yeah. I was thinking earlier about graffiti and graphic designing. You know, and graffiti is a thing that has become multicultural.
Yeah.
You know, you would think that graffiti started in Brooklyn. You know, on the subway.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time.
On the A train in Brooklyn.
Man, they did graffiti in ancient times.
You know, yeah.
You know, too.
You know, and you can just see how people have just taken art to its highest level. You know, took it to its highest level. And it's
Yes, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I've noticed with graffiti art, there's a place in Oslo where the youth are actually allowed to use a particular wall to do their graffiti. But I've noticed some of this graffiti needs deciphering. I'm seeing some letters there, and I'm what is that actually saying? So I'm like, trying to break the code, man. And then you realise that different kind of gangs are using different codes, so they can speak independently.
Speaking of, like the way I do my art, that code. So I'm gonna get back to doing that when I get situated in this work thing. It takes time to go through them and do all that stuff. So
yeah. I've seen some really amazing graffiti. You know, so like Eric was saying, there are some people have taken it to an amazing level, incredible. But one place where I was hanging out, where they're allowed to do their graffiti, I used to have a practice room there for my guitar playing and stuff, and it was not the sort of stuff you want to be breathing in a lot, because you go like walking past the lads, and it's like a cloud of like toxic shit. Not all of them were using masks, but some of them were using masks, and I'm thinking, whoa.
Yeah, they have a place like that up the mountain here too. So but you gotta fill out a permit and all that stuff, be approved, and they gotta see what you're gonna do before you do it.
Oh my God.
And what if you're like me? You don't know what you're gonna do.
No, right.
You know.
Right. Hey, that's the same with me and the guitar. I mean, one of the last times I've, hopefully not the last time I played the concert, but I was playing this Soria Moria place in Oslo. One of the worst performances I've ever done in my life, to be honest. But when I got up on the stage and the lady asked me on the microphone, and yeah, what are you going to play for us today, type of thing, and I say, well, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But maybe a bit of this and a bit of that. Let's see what comes to me, you know. And that you could just see the confusion on her face, and some of the people in the audience as well. That was like hard to fathom. Because flamenco isn't a written. It wasn't ever really traditionally written down. It's a living oral tradition. You know, you might play, let's say, a bulería, and you may play a bulería with even the same falsettos, but there might be variations. You might do it a bit differently. It's not like in classical music where the notes are on the page and you're going to be like playing those notes. But I've even seen examples of improvisation in classical music. Like there was this elderly lady I used to visit in Oslo, and she used to be an organist, a church organ. And she was telling me about the Vienna school, and then how, like, about, I don't know if it was like a couple of 150 years ago or something, that it was actually part of the curriculum to be able to improvise over a theme, a bit like in jazz. It wasn't jazz, but at least improvisation of sorts. And but then at a certain point they removed that again. So
you can't be creative. That's what I hated about school in art class. You know, you had to do what project they told you to do.
Right.
You know, I hated that. I never did it.
Right.
And I passed. You know, I had somebody did my work for me, but I didn't ask them to. That's the thing. I didn't ask them to. They did it anyway, and they failed. You know, weird. But I wish I still had all that artwork.
Yeah.
That's that thing. And you take tests even in art class.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. My daughter was telling me. I remember taking them. It's like the color scheme tests. Something like that.
It's just like you would think, well, after being a grown-up, you find out that the stuff that you learned in school outside of regular reading and adding, you don't need most of that shit.
No.
You know, I mean, not unless you want to be a theologian or, you know, like knowing American history. It's just like we done found out that was some bullshit. So it's just like
at a time, I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be that. But you know,
you pretty much wasted a lot of children's time with a lot of that bullshit that we was forced to learn.
Yeah.
You know, algebra, how much of us really use algebra right now, but it was required, you know, before you graduate.
Well, you know, if you're an architect,
right?
There's, like
if you're an architect.
Not many jobs do that.
If. Because if you graduate in the inner city, if you graduate in the inner city, those architect jobs are not really in the inner city, and they're not even in the county. They're not even in most counties. And if they are already founded by family.
Yeah.
Rich white folks. Let's just keep it 100. It's already founded by rich white folks, and more likely their sons and daughters work there. The only job you would get there is taking out the trash. I'm sorry. Not let you be no graphic designer. They're not gonna let you be no graphic designer when they can use their own people.
That's true. That happens a lot here. Even we have a chain of Chinese restaurants. And they hired people to work there, temporary, and they told them it's temporary. Well, I don't even know if they told them that, but they brought in their own families, their own
Right.
family. They brought them over here from China to work in the restaurants.
Exactly.
So
In your
that's
neighborhood.
true. Yeah,
So the thing that we need to do as citizens of the neighborhoods or our own personal communities, find out who your community leaders are and begin to make demands and say, how many people are you going to hire from the community before you put this Walmart next to my house?
yeah, yeah. Well, they put 2 new restaurants in town near the Walmart, too. So that's not many. That's maybe what? No, actually 3. Like 25 jobs per place, something like that. One's
Right.
the fast food. It's Bojangles, Waffle House, and Zaxby's.
Yeah,
That's
whatever.
what, maybe 60, 70 jobs.
Yeah. I mean, these are still considered small businesses.
Hmm.
Even though they are functional businesses, these are still small businesses. Big businesses is like the Hilton Hotel, the Marriott. That's considered big business.
Yeah,
Restaurants are small. You got to think Monopoly board.
right.
That shit is small business because it can get shut down at a drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Years ago, I was working a couple of years in a photo shop in London, and it was kind of the old rustic traditional kind, where we specialized in a certain cameras, Contax and West German Zeiss optics was one of our specialities, and blah blah blah. But people would often come to our shop, ask us lots of technical questions, and then they'd go to Comet or Dixon's, which were like chain stores which sell, you've got a guy who's got to sell hi-fi, washing machines, all sorts of different things, and they don't always specialize in photography or
Yes.
not necessarily be able to answer technical questions when it comes to that. So they come to us for the advice, but we don't have the power to buy in bulk to bring the price down to something that a chain store, big chain store like Dixon's or Comets was able to do. And so you gradually saw these small, very rustic, atmospheric shops, with a bit of personal quality to them, rather than this uniformed, mass-produced nightmare. And you see those small shops were gradually disappearing virtually by the day or by the week.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as far as I know, Tools Cameras went out of business in the end.
We still have one of them here in town.
Oh,
Not
great.
that kind, not that name, but there's one. Yeah. And they do photography themselves, for extra money, I guess. But they do, like what you said, the advice, and they sell the cameras and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Last time I looked, they were still there. That was a few weeks ago, but and a lot of people would rather take their memory card to Walmart or somewhere and just
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing about it, I guess the thing to do, or I guess the smart thing to do, is what the guy that took over McDonald's, is that he bought the land that the buildings were building on. And that way, when you got the franchise fee, he owned the property.
Yes.
That McDonald's, you may own the store, but he owned the land that McDonald's built on. So the power is in owning the land. It ain't even really in owning the building or the McDonald's cups or whatever like that. It's in owning that land. Because if you want to tear down McDonald's, you can build Burger King right on that same motherfucking land.
Speaking of Burger King, where I live, we have an Ingles. Bob Ingles. Ingles is predominantly just here in the South, I believe. But He owned the whole, the shopping center there, and Burger King used to be a Burger Boy or whatever. But yeah, I don't know how that works, but they got to pay rent. They got to pay rent for it to sit there
Yeah.
every month, and they can't, like for the drive-through. I know this was a real pain for them. When it rained, you get soaking wet on the inside, but they. Because of that, they would not allow them just to put a little canopy thing up over the drive-through. Just a little thing maybe like this. They would not allow it. It's still like that.
Yeah. Because you own the land, so you can say what can be in there and what can't. And that's what it's all about, y'all. You gotta
think about that too. Your own land. They said you don't own your own land.
Right.
Like we said, you got to have a fucking permit to build onto your own house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I remember when Dad built on.
That's a theme that I've thought about when it comes. That I've noticed both in original Australian peoples. Original Australians saying, yeah, it's the land that owns us. It's not us that owns the land. And I've seen that in some Native American cultures mentioned often as well.
Or you go back to the damn earth. We are the earth.
It's the land of the fee, because you got to pay fucking fees for the land.
You pay for your dead ancestors. That's what it is.
Right.
And when they die, they're still taxing them.
It's like it started off as territory, right? I got this territory, you got that territory. And then when people start saying, okay, well, now I need this land, they was like, what's land? Like, no, I need this land.
Yeah.
I need the whole damn land, man. Like, forget about your ley lines and all of that. And that's how all your countries begin to separate and to begin to combine. And yeah, because people wanted their own thing. They didn't want to be next door neighbors to you, so they build a wall. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny too, because it's the way this new world order is gonna be the way, what I'm saying here. It's gonna be no borders. So that wall thing it's in my opinion, that's a big distraction.
How do you put the wall thing? Because remember the NAFTA agreement,
Right.
So is it contradictory? Well, we have yet to see if that wall will be built or not. But
that's what I'm saying. It's iffy.
They already got a wall right there.
Yeah, there's already a border fence and all that.
It's already a wall. See, the only thing he's saying is it's not a physical wall; it's a mental law. He's gonna create a law to keep you out, and that's why he did an executive order. And then he gonna put you on the Jesus coming back for you.
I tell you what he can do with them executive orders. He can shove them up his ass.
You're not putting up no more construction for that. You don't need construction for that. As you can see, they're already making moves with the so-called ICE members to get rid of you out of the country. You don't need no wall. Trust me, the wall, like you say, is a distraction.
Yes, it is.
It's more so about creating a law to force you out, keep you out. And you started off with Muslims, now you're on Mexicans, and now you're fucking with Jews. It'll be the niggas left, it'll be the poor white trash, and before you know it, all you'll have is the elite in America, because that's what you're talking about when you say America first. You ain't talking about the people that's below the poverty line. You're talking about those that are above it.
Right, and you look at the Native Americans, how they've been done, in that pipeline thing, that's a distraction too. Because they own the rights to the water. The Canadian Water Authority owns rights to all that water. Plus, now they got the fucking oil. there too. Canada. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say Canada. I meant, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's and
all this thing about, I hear this expression, illegal aliens. And I thought, flipping, it sounds like, what, illegal aliens? Well, it sounds like, blah, blah, blah. Do you mean green men from outer space? Who are these illegal aliens? And
that's what I
then
thought.
they're using this certain terminology to describe people from Mexico. They're using labels like Latinos, when in actual fact, a massive percentage of Mexicans were originally from Mexico before that border was ever put there, and and many of these, like you have like the Mexica movement, which are pointing out some of these things too, and some people there are understandably are quite fed up with being labeled Latino, when in actual fact they are Nahuatl and speak Nahuatl.
Well, it's like that video you shared there. That I got from that a lot of stuff. But the one thing was, that's why they kill off a lot of these languages.
Yeah.
All the knowledge that they knew, you know, and it's gone unless you have some people that know it and teach it, like that guy did.
Yeah.
But
exactly. I mean, this is again a pattern that you see across the board, across the world, over the last 100 years, which I just call forced assimilation, and the same techniques of forced assimilation here in Norway. Both the Sami and Roma languages were illegal until recently here in Norway. And it's not just here in Norway, of course. I mean, this is what they've done in both North and South America. And many other places that I'm discovering now. I'm like, with my kind of finding this and that on the net. Even these Ket people, the Ket people, who are there only 50 surviving speakers of that language. For again, another story of forced assimilation, and but when you're going to force someone to assimilate to the system, you know, that controlling mindset wants to destroy your culture. It wants you to think and speak in the system's language. And
they done our ancestors here in the U.S. You know, like I've researched my heritage and everything and found out all this. I'm like, you know, some of it I learned from my dad and stuff, but a lot of it's lost. You know, because the elders are dead that could teach me that. But I could learn it on my own. You know, but it's not. It would be better to learn it from your elders. That's the way it worked. It was passed down generation to generation, and it's gone.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, much of it is gone. This is exactly where I'm seeing concrete signs of hope, because I'm actually seeing examples again in Alaska, in the States, in both North and South America, Turtle Island, many other places in the world where they're actually arranging that the elders help to bring back the language. Yeah, again, this is something that, amidst all the hopelessness, we're getting the opposite happening, and people regaining and reconnecting with their original culture. So I hope to see more of that personally.
I'm looking into learning some languages myself. So Dad told me to. He told me to when I was a kid, and what to learn, and I'm kicking myself because I never learned them now. So
yeah. Well, it's never too late. I'm still learning languages. I'm 47 years old now, and I'm learning new things about language every day now. So
me too. Try to.
Yeah.
So, like we said, this forced assimilation, we know with us in the U.S., it wasn't. Some of it was forced because it was like the indentured servants, prisoners they sent over here, and slaves, more or less. But you know, the rest of them were like, oh, you know, we can, you know, start over, you know, have a better life and all that stuff. But no, That's what happened. They lost their culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really sad, you know. And
Yeah.
And now you can get it back on Google.
and I have some of it. So
Your culture is one click away now.
yeah.
See, that's that bullshit. It's just like you said, it's supposed to have been passed down from the elders, but the only thing that was passed down was some fucked up ass English. And this language has got so many traps into it that
Yeah.
word resume and resume is the same fucking word.
Yeah, it is.
How? How?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way some of them spelled, it's like, why is it spelled that way? Like knife, for instance. Knife.
Yeah, really. What is the K for?
Knife.
Somebody said to me, I'm going to my therapist. I said, what? Did you say, is that the rapist?
Yeah, or P psychiatrist.
Yeah.
That's what they used to say back in the day. Oh, I'm going to a P psychiatrist.
Like Frank had said before, you know, word spells.
Yeah, come on, man. So it's just like because you gave us this, and you got to think about it. In some of our cultures, music came with the language.
Yeah.
So if you took the language, you took the music. If you took the music, you took the language. It's just like and you left me with a form of hip hop that I gotta figure out for myself. You know, you might have been left with a form of country or rock and roll or blues or I forgot the type of music we were listening to the other day, David. But yeah, you know, you've been left with a form of what your original shit was.
Yes. It's like when I was a kid, Dad and his dad and others, they were in a band. I forget the name of it. It's on my computer somewhere, but I have the recordings of it that my niece, listen at me, my cousin sent me. But and they played, it's folk music.
Yeah.
They call it bluegrass.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's old folk music. Like I said, Scottish, Irish, they're on that side, and others on the other side. It's anyway, that's what they played, old folk music.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up on that when I was a kid. You know, that's part of the culture that didn't get lost. But, you know, it is lost now because he never would teach me, learn on your own, you know, but like I said, we got recordings of all that, so it's not lost totally.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, now the machines are replacing the music we once had, and I try to counteract that and keep. Well, I played mostly the flamenco guitar for what it's worth, my guitar playing, but yeah, definitely. When I'm making music recordings as well, I don't use electronics, or it's just acoustic instruments. But then I suppose I'm a bit old. Too much of an old-fashioned purist for a lot of people's taste these days. But the music industry really is an industry these days. And I was looking an interview, a couple of interviews where one John McLaughlin, a famous guitarist you may have heard of, John McLaughlin. He says that that he feels sorry for much of the youth growing up today because of the lack of freedom in the music industry to do what you want to do. And I just caught Mark King, the famous bassist from Level 42 in England, from the Isle of Wight, in a clip I was watching a couple of days ago, where he's saying the same thing. I'm glad I was in the 60s and 70s, because then we still 70s and 80s. I mean, because after that it was like a steady downwards on the freedom of expression level. Where, well, actually, I went into a recording studio once just to see, and as soon as I got in through the door, they just laughed in my face. I hadn't even opened my mouth yet because something about the way I looked or something, maybe I was a bit too goofy for them, a bit old-fashioned. It wasn't the recording studio for me, let's put it that way. They made that absolutely clear. So they're laughing in my face, and I'm thinking, are you laughing with me, or are you laughing at me? Because, oh, I just turned around and went out again. You know, what was I going to do? And I realized it was more of a modern thing, you know, mostly synthesizers and stuff like that. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I can understand if people don't agree with me, but please don't let the machine replace natural music, at least not completely. You know?
Yes, definitely.
You know.
Definitely.
Man,
Yeah.
I mean, live band music. I mean, I grew up listening to Earth, Wind and Fire, Grover Washington Jr.,
Yeah.
Lou Rawls, Diana Ross.
Mm.
You know, and it was just like, you know, music like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it had a
With
lot
soul,
of love.
with soul,
It
with
was
soul.
music.
I still listen to Billie Holiday today. You know, listening to
Even the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is my favorite rock band. You know, give me some Red Hot Chili Peppers, but don't be using no fucking drum machine. I really want to play the bass.
What about Def Leppard?
Right, exactly.
Def Leppard, that has one.
All of them.
So I overlooked that because he's still drumming.
Right. You know, give me some Alice in Chains. You know, don't give me no. You know, I mean, give me real music.
Yeah.
I think that's what I deserve. I don't really want a drum machine if it's not necessary. You know,
I like how some of this music, how some of these musicians evolve. You know, they start out with this heavy stuff, and then eventually they go back to the beginning, back to the acoustic. You know, not, you know what I'm trying to say there, but they go back to their roots.
Yeah.
You know, why they started with the soul. You know,
it's just like the concert that I'm going to this Thursday. Charlie Wilson, Fantasia, and Johnny Gill. You know, the reason why I'm a love the Johnny Gill, because that's where my church clothes song come from. Put on your red dress, you know, put on your church clothes. So it's just like I can't wait until he sing that shit, because you know I'm gonna have a moment. Like, even though I did Jack Your Shit, but it was the best church remix song, you know, in local Baltimore history. You know, the greatest shit of all times. So, you know, but I don't want to go there and hear no goddamn drum machine. I want to see some drums. I want to hear Charlie Wilson's horns. You know, I know Fantasia always go live. You know, she never used a drum machine, but you know, other people, I don't know, because if you couldn't afford to bring a band with you, you might have to go with that goddamn machine. And I'm not really. I ain't pay $103 for no goddamn drum machine.
Right, you want the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, it just, for me, it's just so synthetic. The quantized, because the rhythms are so quantized and mathematically so perfect and so mechanical that it's like lacking humanity. And then even the voice is being so processed. They're using auto tune, vocoders. I don't know. And I'm thinking, is there a human in there somewhere as you're being assimilated into the machine here? You know,
I know.
Computer Love was the greatest auto tune of all time. Computer Love, and it really wasn't about the auto tune. It was about that motherfucking beat. That beat was banging, right? And then when you came on with the Computer Love song, all right. Then next thing you know, you got T-Pain, Lil Wayne, Snoop Dogg, Sexual Seduction. Okay, that was okay with Snoop Dogg's auto tune, but everybody don't sound right with it. Right? Everybody don't sound right with it.
Exactly.
But you should have left it at Computer Love, because it was perfect. It was perfect at Computer Love. You know, T-Pain did okay with it, but it's like eventually that's all you'll be known for is that straw in your mouth. You know, I'll never respect you as an artist without auto tune.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I said, growing up, you know, it's not meant to be perfect.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, and that's the way this society is. Everything's got to be perfect. It's got to sound perfect, perfect bodies, perfect voice, perfect everything. And people, they put this in our kids' heads. You know, starting when they're little, you got to be perfect at everything, and that's just another thing there. You know, it's got to be perfect. It's got to sound perfect. Or it won't sell. I want imperfection. You know, that's it's. I'm sorry, I got lost.
Oh, I know exactly what I agree. I know what you mean. It's those
so
imperfections that often make music interesting. I mean, if you listen to like you were both mentioning the drums, Eric was mentioning the drums, and you have a human drummer, you know, as opposed to a drum machine. It's those slight offbeats, and then you get back into the beat because the drummer's he's trying to feel the groove together with the bassist or whatever, you know, as an example, and they're trying to find the groove together. Even when you hit slightly off, you know, as opposed to a quantized beat of a drum machine, you might hit a slightly off beat, but that you're going to get back into the groove again because you're trying to feel the groove with your heart, your soul, and there's a continuous communication going on, which makes the beat have a human kind of what's the word I'm looking for? You know, more human feeling to it. It's not the word I'm looking for though, but those imperfections make it more interesting.
I don't even want you to lip sync on Thursday night. I didn't pay for no motherfucking
exactly.
I don't want you singing with your fucking record. I mean, seriously.
If your voice ain't up to par, if you feel like you shouldn't sing and you're not going to give your all, don't perform at all.
I agree so much. With that. It's this. I even see old style traditional like Romanian music and Bulgarian music getting up on the stage and lip syncing, and these are the last people in the world I would expect to sit there and pretend they're playing. And sometimes, I mean, as if I haven't noticed already, they'll put up on the screen, "This is playback." Really sure, as if I hadn't noticed, mate. You know.
I'm heartbroken because when the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Bruno Mars performed at the fucking Super Bowl, come to find out them bitches wasn't singing or playing. I was highly upset because you got my greatest two bands ever. I mean, Bruno Mars is my man. I would love to go see. I can't wait to go see him in concert. And then you got my Chili Peppers. I'm just like, how could y'all be lip singing and don't even have y'all shit plugged up to a real bass? Y'all fake. How do you fake bass it?
I know. You know, they're professional.
Yeah, no doubt. They teach you how to fake it.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I mean, I never liked my voice by itself because even on the community rap song, it's dubbed over. Like maybe a couple of times because I always sound like I got a cold when I speak on a microphone or tape by itself. So it's just like, man, you gotta do something with that voice, right? So my cousin was like, just do a dub over, and then it sound like you got a twin.
Yeah.
So the twin vocals sound better. So I ended up dubbing all of my music straight through and never a single voice. Why? Because the twins sound better. You know, not that I don't like my voice, but the sound of a twin sounds just a little bit more better vocally because of the way my vocal cords come out on tape. They don't really sound like Jay-Z. You know, because Jay can spit in his regular voice and sound good. And even when he do the dub, even though it sound better, but he sound good in his regular voice. I just don't. Singing, yeah. But rapping, no.
It can be because sometimes it can be a challenge listening to oneself anyway. So, regardless of whether, I mean, when somebody else is listening to you, they're probably getting a kick out of it when you're kind of criticizing yourself and stuff. I mean, even when I just have to say, even when you're just talking with your mic now, Eric, I mean, for me, that is music. You've got a kind of like a husky voice or a special quality to your voice. That for me is singing. as well, you know, when we're talking. And so for me, that's great. You know, you might listen to your own voice, like I try listening to my own playing or something in my own voice sometimes, and I cringe. But I promise you, somebody else is getting a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's the frequency. It's the frequency. And that's like Foxy said, how they manipulate the music.
Yeah.
You know, when they dub it, when they do that mixing and stuff, they alter the frequency of it, the mind control, you know, and that's why they're so heavy in the music industry. And that's why you should not do that kind of stuff. You know, the synthesized music.
Yeah. You pretty much Metatron or some shit like that they use. And my cousin, he do all of the beats and stuff like that. Shout out to Mel Fly Beats, you know. But he would always say, like, you know, when it comes to making beats, if you can get rid of the Metatron, you can be all right.
Yeah.
Because it always got a clicking and it always got a timing. And that was always the issue that we had back in the day in 2005 when we were making CDs. And it was like you can always hear that fucking Metatron time click.
Yeah.
On every motherfucking song, right? Or just like the type of software that they got now, you ain't even really got to go through all of that timing and bars and knowing when to change and everything like that. You know, so being that stuff has been upgraded, you know, it makes it a better challenge, you know, because the Community Uprising song, you know, we did that on a small on a laptop pretty much. You know, it was just wild how the whole setup was as opposed to the studio that we used to go to back in the day, you know. So you can do some great things with small pieces, you know, because you be having beats off of the cell phone and plug the microphone into the computer, and then that's how I made the song. I was just like, really? A long time ago, we should have to go and, you know, spend a lot of money, time, because studio time is expensive. That hour go by fast. Shit. If you come in there and you ain't already got your song wrote, it could be some issues. You'll get in there and start critiquing over your music. Oh, yo, put this on there. Oh, yo, say that there. You know, somebody else, well, you should take that out. And before you know it, your whole hour is up. You know, and you ain't even laid a track. You ain't even laid a track.
Oh, another thing that I'm thinking about here now is, you know, like you might be looking for something on YouTube or whatever, and then there's there's a theme that interests me. You start up the video, and there's like synthetic voice there, a robot voice. And I thought, oh my God, I can't face watching this video because I can't be bothered to listen. Couldn't you as a human being use your own voice? And I can understand that in some cases you don't want to reveal your identity, and that can be a good reason for using the robot voice in the first place. But I'm thinking, oh my God, I just can't bear listening to it. You know, it's just
creepy.
Creepy, yeah.
It is.
I mean, it's one thing not to see, but then to hear that creepy ass voice too. It's just like you asking to get a boot. You want a boot. You want a boot. But no, you know,
like he said though, some people, you know, protect their identity and stuff. Because I had somebody come on one of my shows a long time ago with the voice changer for that reason, to protect their self and their children.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, but how much does that shit really work? Because if they really want to get you, nothing that you can use or do can really stop them. And my case in point, I ain't even did the video yet, but I just may do it. Now we got a sky chopper, well, not a sky chopper, but an illegal airplane. They said was going around targeting Freddie Gray protesters or large crowds, right?
Yeah.
So they brought the plane in just to do some surveillance on the large crowds of the protesters or whatever like that. So boom, it said it's an outside source and it's only a pilot, and we're just going to try for a minute. It's been a whole year. And now they said that I did a video, 42 days, 39 murders in 42 days, right?
Yeah.
Or 42 murders in 39 days. Yeah, that's what it was. 42 and 39. That's like a murder a day. And guess what these bitches had the audacity to say just the other day? That they witnessed, this is what they said, they witnessed, these motherfuckers in a flying airplane, Rebecca, they said they witnessed 39 murders. Now, I counted 42 in 39 days. These airplane motherfuckers said that they have eyewitness from 32,000 feet in the air. They have eyewitness. 9 murders. So they saying they seen the motherfucker pick up the gun. I don't even know how a murder go down because I've never killed anybody. But they said they have eyewitness. So I'm wondering, what the fuck can you see? Can you see through my house? Can you see through my car? I mean, you'll see it, everything in real time, slow time. And then it's like, how did you know I was getting ready to do the murder? I'm just saying, you said you witnessed murders from 32,000 feet in the sky. I wonder
Big
what type of
Brother's
technology.
always watching.
What type of technology do that? Now I witnessed the whole murder. That means I got 39 court cases. Is this what you're telling me, right?
Yeah.
Witnessed
They
to
put it all into
39
one.
homicides.
Yeah.
Right? So now you got 39 subpoenas, pretty much.
Damn.
Right? Am I talking facts here? If you're an eyewitness to a murder, see, this is what I'm saying, y'all. You're an eyewitness to a murder, they got to bring you in.
Yeah.
Right? They got to bring you in. But no, this ain't about bringing them in. This is about high-tech surveillance.
Yes.
Illegal high-tech surveillance is how it started off, but this is your justification to keep it now. We've eyewitnessed 39 motherfucking. But did you help solve them? Did you call the police just before the, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're eyewitnessing the murder, it's just like you saw the premeditation. You saw, I wonder how much did you catch?
Hey, they don't want to stop it because that person will be put into the system for free labor and all that good stuff.
Did you see the motherfuckers in the car loading their weapons just before they pulled up on young Scoop? Did you fucking catch that? But yet, if you witness these murders, how come the police wasn't called?
Exactly. Because
right, the police is called after the fact.
They don't want to stop it. Like I said, it's free labor.
Right.
And like you said too, to justify this technology that's coming, it is coming, people. So y'all know, a lot of y'all already know that it is coming. The satellite systems, 5G and all that nice, lovely stuff, for our protection, for our convenience, you'll get better cell phone reception. They'll tell you, but that's not what it's really for. It's for surveillance to keep us in line.
Yep.
So they say, and
probably in the next 2 to 4 years, because I thought about it, but I know I probably won't even be able to come out with it. But if somebody's out there listening, that's a part of our love and a part of our program, hey, create that application, that voters app, because it's coming out where you can vote on your motherfucking cell phone. So if you can get a hit on it, hey, this is something that you might can invest in. This is just one of my ideas I give away to give back to the motherfucking universe. But yeah, create the application where you can vote on your phone. because voter suppression is coming, and this is going to be a way to avoid it because they've been collecting our emails and everything and all the other IP addresses, so they fucking know who you are. So create that app for voting
Well, voting
because
though,
it could make you a lot of money.
voting is a scam too, though, unless it's
Yeah,
on the
but
local
still,
level. You know,
it was a thought.
it's a good thought though, but you know, the big elections, you know, all them they're done pre-planned, like the president. That maybe some of the others are too, but
No,
the only
because
place voting really has any effect on your community is locally. And that's really where you need to be voting at
yeah,
is at the local level, doing more
yeah,
in your
because that's
community.
what counts. That's what directly affects you
Yeah,
is your local
that's the
district
way
and
it
stuff
should
like
be.
that.
We shouldn't
Hell
have these
yeah.
people in Washington, wherever the fuck their headquarters are, the Vatican. You know, we shouldn't have these assholes telling us how to live our lives, and that's what they've been doing all
Right.
these years. You know, and it's enough. You know, people need to see. You know, it's not right making other people live the way they tell you to live, and you go along with. Oh well, yeah, I see that. You can't smoke weed. You can't do this. You can't do that. You
Yeah.
know,
And if you notice, and
and
if you notice on
who are
top
they
of
to
all of
tell
that,
us?
they got a police force to cover every one of them sections, from the ATF to the dog
Yeah,
police. They got police force. We got too many fucking police forces here in the United States for one thing.
it's
Everybody's
about total control.
guns, and you having bad mornings, and you fucking up the community relationships.
That's the goal. Where people won't trust each other. You're
Yeah,
turning in your neighbors. So I have a neighbor like that,
it ain't no trust.
and yeah, people,
Who
yeah,
can who
they
can
don't.
you run to? I mean, do you even know your neighbor?
Yes,
I had
I do.
a
I can say
I
You
had a
names.
know?
neighbour flying their freaking drone outside my window twice, and I'm thinking, oh my god! And it was like right outside the window, and I'm thinking, don't try coming with that excuse now, because now it's the second time that you would just happen to be there. Because when I came out the door, that drone shot off, and like, are you trying to pretend that? As if I didn't see that, and I'm thinking, yeah, there you go. And those who are using the drones are maybe haven't taken into consideration that that is a wireless. If you're using an FPV drone, like first-person view drone, which
Mhm.
has a wireless signal coming from the drone to your remote control unit,
Yeah,
giving you the picture. Anybody with the right unit being able to pick up that signal, including the police station, by the way, is going to be able
yeah,
to use that to spy on us as well. So you're actually
right.
assisting the Big
Yes,
Brother, all-seeing eye to watch on us all.
yes.
But there's no
Oh
way
yeah.
I'm going to put up with that neighbour like flying their drone outside my window again. I tell you.
Fortunately, no one around here has drones that I know of. So, and there's Foxy. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Good. How's you?
Pardon? Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Cool. Hello, everybody else.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, drones. I just typed in because I said to my son today what you're just talking about a minute ago about the 5G Wi-Fi. All around the streets of my area, the antennae, tiny little metal bits upon the top of the so-called streetlights. They look normal, anyone
Mm.
else walking past. And when they come out and visit me today, see my little daughter,
Yeah.
and it's lovely. And then we're just passing, coming home, and I said, "Have you ever noticed?" Just thought I'd raise a subtle conversation. Have you ever noticed these new street lights? Because they live in the South UK in the city. And oh yeah. So he's very switched on. I'm quite impressed actually. Thank God. And because obviously if he's switched on, he's going to be more clued up with all the other stuff going on. And he's got a new job, and it gives him more sort of income. Much as his age, he's being headhunted. So I thought, bloody good, because his daughter is going to grow up and is going to be switched on, and a young mother as well.
Good.
They could be
Good,
switched
good.
on for this, and they're going to protect them. And of course, I said, we're in a restaurant earlier, and I said, interesting, you like this? You never used to be. He said, no, I'll get it from you, Mum.
That's good.
You know, and I thought all this time, I was like thinking, am I going to get all this information through or subtly, you know, so he could help his, you know, next generation. And yeah, finally, he actually is finally his mind at that age now, he's switched on. And he said, yeah, I have noticed that, because I said, oh, okay, what kind of phone you got? And when he showed what type of phone, I said, you know how he showed me a little tip about the smartphone, and he showed me a little thing he did on his phone. I can't remember how he did it now, but it showed me to protect yourself because of this other app, and what permission and what things they can get into your information. Because I said to him, I don't want you to download it onto my phone in case it does all this, that, and the other. And because I said about 5G, that's when I brought the conversation in on the way home. And he said, yeah, I know about that. I've listened to that.
Good. So 5G on streetlights. Yay!
Yeah, it's like the first thing I said, because what it dawned on me when I said that was like a grid pattern, you know, like the sky when you get the multiplication. And it was just like that. That suddenly come into my mind, was because I saw so many new all these lights coming up in my area, which is like a town centre area, and in UK. So it's like a grid pattern for the 5G Wi-Fi. So he said also, I learnt this ages ago, but I just thought I passed it by him and in conversation, and I said, okay. So I said, well, I just always turn off my automatic Wi-Fi when I'm not, you know, anywhere near my home, because you never know who can hack into it, or you know, or track you, literally, and they could track you anyway. But even more so, all this new technology, and like you, Eric, with the software on the music side, it's everything. Isn't it? It's everything. So I said to my lad in the restaurant, before you do anything, what you're doing, how you're linking up to this, that, and the other. And I'm just learning about technology that he knows a bit more than I. He likes his gaming, you know, when he gets time. And so being the young wife, being younger than him, she's a bit more also with the modern technology, and they're so damn clued up. And I thought, yes, finally, and hopefully that will get through to, you know, with their own, they want to travel around the world eventually, but hopefully, you know, they'll end up somewhere where there isn't so much of this technology to surround them, and they get a better quality of life through his ability to get that income through his work, and then the you know, the ability to go somewhere that's more of a better environment for the family.
Well, nothing wrong with technology, but when it's being used to spy on us, that's when it's went too far then.
Oh yeah.
And that's really sad, because it's connected the whole world, and it's being used against us.
It is like that grid pattern, isn't it? It's like HAARP. It's like, you know, with the weather, you could when you see the clouds like that, and then when I saw that again, like I see it all the time. Well, not all the time when I go out. And today, it just that word just came in my mind. It just reminded me of the sky grid pattern. That's what it is, and connecting everything. And like you said earlier, replacing humans and robots. That's already AI is already here, more advanced than we probably know.
That article I shared the other day about Elon Musk and the AI that, it's transhumanism.
Yeah,
they want us merged with the machine.
Oh my God! Yes,
people will be lining up for that shit.
Yes, that's the sad bit. Yeah.
Because they're already in line for it.
They already,
they're already in line for it. you got so many people that have like different various diseases, and they hook a computer
Right.
up to the back of your spine and
Yes.
and cause you to be able to communicate. Like even that guy that's in the wheelchair, that's how he communicate.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
And who
Yeah,
knows if
Stephen-
that's really him talking? Who knows if that's
Right.
him really talking? Dude. So
Right.
Exactly.
Automated voice respondent has taken over for the real person, because you can't even
Yeah.
call you can't call nobody without having to push one or some fucking Espanol.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah.
how did the Mexican all of a sudden become number 2 on the fucking phone call list?
Exactly.
My God. Well, it's saying
One for English, they say press 1 for English and press 2 for Espanol.
well,
Like,
pretty soon that'll be
like-
not pretty soon, but it's the like,
languages out here except for that one.
like they're doing the one world religion. That's going to be the one world language, and that's English.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's required throughout the whole world.
Yeah.
And people try to say, well, the Bible is prophesying things. Like, no, the Bible has provided things.
That's
It's
their
not
guidebook.
It is
That's their
provision,
guidebook.
exactly. It is a guidebook to their success.
Yes.
To their success. That's why it's called the good book. For the good old boy.
I recall watching a video. It's been a year or two ago of this guy where he he seen through the religion and all that stuff, and he made a video. But the video's deleted. I don't even think the guy's on here anymore. But he did this in the video. He burned all his Bibles and all his books that had to do with the Bible. You know, because he said that too. How these religious books. They use religion as to justify all these wars and killing of children and all in Palestine, Syria, wherever else they've done it. They've done it everywhere, but they use the Bible, their Bibles, to justify that. Well, God said it's okay.
Yeah, no
It's-
doubt.
Yeah. Religion. Religion. Oh.
God, it said God told y'all to split the land. You know,
Kick
No,
these
the
people out.
land-
It belongs to you.
right. Israel was discovered in what, 1948, 1946, something like that, is when they became a
It
state.
was, yeah, something like that. Balfour Declaration.
The Jews migrated from Germany and all the other places, so they wasn't original. So Sankofa asked this one
Right.
Jew, go back to your original land like everybody else did.
What's
He said he would have
What's
to
funny
go back.
about that though? What's funny about that though? They were already Jews there that were living
Right.
alongside with the Muslims in peace. You know, and these Jews that's there now, they're the Zionists. They're not Jews. They're Zionists. A lot of them, the ones in power, that is,
Exactly. So
not
it's
the people.
It's just like I said earlier with the territory. You know, I'm gonna take over the territory, then I'm gonna claim the land, and that's what this thing has always been about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
And they use the Jews as a scapegoat. Blame them. It's their fault.
right. You'll say the North and the South was about slavery. Like, no, it was about territory.
It was not. It was about territory. And
Animal
yes,
was
exactly.
the animal was about territory.
The South had more resources than the North.
So you know, a
And
lot of
taxes.
things added to it. A lot of things get added to the story to make the story big.
Yes.
In this heart and this root, it's always been about territory. My side, even in the hood,
Yes.
it's my side of the street versus your side of the street. This shit will never change.
Right.
It's
Mm.
always about
It will.
territory.
We got to make it change. We got to make it
You know,
change.
You're right.
Cats and dogs. I mean,
Like the saying goes, be the change. It starts with you.
It does.
So-
animals deal with territory. So it probably ain't even the real human era, because animals
Yeah,
know it's
they
probably
do.
part of nature.
But they don't have no, they don't go by borders though either.
No.
But it's the territory, like you said. I mean, I don't like borders either, but that's part of their plan too. No borders. But it's the territory. It's
Control.
your ancestral
Yeah.
territory. That's, I guess, how you would put it. I don't know, but your homeland. I don't know.
They're like, for example, in
We're-
UK, I'll just go for my example if you want on what you're talking about there, because another bit of conversation I had with my lad, I mean, I was quite intrigued because he's working in the food industry, right? And he, over the years, he's progressing to a different level and a well-known store in this country, and only because it pays more for his situation. And I just mentioned about, because the weather's been affected with the supply of food in local shops a few weeks back. And then I just went on subject and my brain just froze. I forgot what I was about to say. Oh my God. Oh God, never happens to me normally. I forgot what I was going to say. It's on the tip of my tongue then. And I was just
It
sidetracked.
happens.
Yeah. Anyway, you carry on for a minute. I'll think about it and I'll come back.
The stolen thoughts.
Yeah. Brain froze.
But
It's
let me
something
take
good
that-
I was going to say. I forgot. Go on, Eric. You
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah, but that's real though, you know. And I always wonder, where does that thought travel to? Will come out of me? Where did it go to? Do it go back to the source? Do it go to another archive, a memory? Where does those thoughts travel to when we don't get a chance to say those things? I always wonder.
Yeah, that's a good point, Eric.
Where was it at for it to come back to you? You be like, okay, now I got it. Well, where the fuck was it at that? If now you all of a
And
sudden,
interesting because because I mean, when you do when one does meditation, which I do, so conscious meditation, and then when the brain and the mind is deep in that, it's a bit. I don't know if you heard the term lucid dreaming, and my neighbour's starting to learn that. That's more like when you're more awakening within one's mindset. So you've done the stage of subconscious meditation, whatever subject one might need to progress in one's life to help oneself, whatever it might be. I mean, I've been doing this now for 2 years. And then your interesting point is because the pressure of so-called reality in everyday life gets in the way and your thoughts perhaps are racing away with you. And one thought might be jumping onto another thought before the conscious mind's got a chance to catch up with what you're trying to think about. And it's like chasing after the next thought and the next thought. Before you know it, your mind's gone away with you before your body can catch up with it. Yeah, and it's interesting because when I had a bit of a turn last week, not too well, and I found myself literally really strange. And I started. This is new. A couple of new CDs on meditation I got recently from a neighbour, and one was on the motivation side, a subject, starting on that to get me back into doing my paperwork and stuff I've not been doing because I've been concentrating on something else. So it's trying to get on track again. And so the thought pattern the other day when I was ringing up a basic simple thing with where I rent my home from, and suddenly I have never for a long time got any really emotional at all. And there was me getting really emotional on the phone to this strange woman I don't know, trying to repair. Absolutely. I think what the hell? Afterwards, I thought, oh, stupid little cow. I felt that, stupid. I felt kicking myself, but getting so bloody emotional on the phone. And this woman was getting so sympathetic to me, oh, bless you, all these sympathetic words, on the phone to me back. And I'm going really weepy, and self-pity, on the phone. And that is not me. That is not me. And I thought, where the hell has all this come from? So, of course, I'm trying to backtrack and think, my conscious brain is trying to level it out, thinking process, and I could not put my finger on it. I could not think why. I could only think perhaps my energy level in my own body was not synced up to my my consciousness or subconsciousness wasn't tuned up together because I haven't been 100%. That's the only thing I could think of. And because up until I had that minor setback in my health, I weren't like that. And then suddenly it's all happened out of the blue. So it can knock you for six when you haven't been like that for a while. And then your thoughts, you haven't been like today, I've been on top form with being out with my son, relaxed, being myself. And then suddenly the brain switches on and you just suddenly come up with an interesting idea and a topic, and you have a good discussion, you know, one adult to another. And that intelligent civil conversation, and although the emotions are there because it's your blood family member, and that effort of me trying to keep the relationship communication open with him on a long distance level worked in my situation, because we managed to, like, we've never been apart situation, and that was magical, you know. And he had to change in himself and I had to do work on myself, and then we've come to balance, you know. And so it was amazing for me not have to make no effort at all, and which was so refreshing. And knowing that all these things I've done over the years, we all make mistakes as parents, I suppose, but hands up, you know, I said to him, like today, I said, okay, you might not think this, that and the other, because he wanted to look at the old photos. I used to take loads of photos, and amateur photographer when they were younger. So I happened to find the old case this time, and I just pure luck, I had them out, and he went through the whole lot and found loads of stuff he, you know, wanted to take away. And I said, well, you can have some, blah blah blah, and then. So he's got some, God forbid if it happens to me, I'll leave it to you and I will anyway. God forbid. But I'll put the joking to the side. It was interesting to have that intelligent conversation of our mindset. So it wasn't perhaps wasn't for me working on me, on the subconscious mind, and getting to a level within myself. Perhaps I wouldn't have been able to have that logical thinking, that communication area to keep in contact with it. And perhaps my effort worked on him, so he felt able to communicate and with his wife to meet up, you know, and introduce my grandkid, you know, which was lovely to hold her.
And he's aware of all this crap going on, so that's awesome. Going back to the drug thing, Delete says, you know, about the drugs. A lot of drugs were like coke and all them were designed by chemists and pushed by governments for social control. They keep it illegal because that's the way the elite make their money. And the elite today has most of their wealth due to opium trading in the times of the East India Company. Yes.
Absolutely true. It's very good you raised that point, because that was another subject I mentioned about. I didn't mention, actually, it was my son's wife, and about cannabis, although I got personal views about it. But because of her new baby and everything, my son was the opposite. It was like, yeah, don't give a monkeys, I'll smoke, it's a herb. But now, as he got older and responsibilities and a little baby, the way they talked about that subject and about a certain individual that lives opposite where they live and what's going on with that situation, and it was so like relaxed a conversation. They're open-minded, but as long as it don't affect their baby and their health, and you know, on the subject of not just green herb, but any kind of drug. And
you know,
sorry, go on.
I was saying, you know, my kids, they went to Duke last week, and they usually give them the flu vaccine.
Oh, right.
And, you know, I protested it last time. They still gave it to him, but not the one. I can't remember, but this year they didn't even ask.
No. My gosh.
No vaccine.
are great. No vaccine at all.
Yep.
That's a progress. So you managed to get that's good, isn't it? You
Oh, yeah.
obviously that is a progress, isn't it? Stuck to your guns. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is one thing I'll try to. It's a bit difficult when you're emailing or whatever a relative, and the big concern I had is in case that baby had their injections very young, yeah. And I was trying to send all the information, well, just bits of information for them to learn. And one last thing I said to my son's wife today was, anything about like being a new mum, it's all new, and she's got her own mum, but I thought, well, if I can be open and just get to know her as well, then she might feel open to perhaps contact me on the subject of vaccines, perhaps, if she gets pressured by so-called state system when it comes to a certain baby's age, yeah. And because she was born with like jaundice, and my son had that, so I'm giving her a bit of information what my son had. I could remember as a little baby, so she could, help her little girl growing up. So I preempted some information. I knew my son would get back to me eventually, but his hours and things, his works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought, well, now I know she is at home with a baby for a while now. She's got time between her commitments to study the natural way of doing things. So in our general conversation today, I was slowly getting her mind to take the natural point of views, I said, I do things more naturally now, and have you ever tried this way, and just putting simple little things through her mind. And then when they went, I said, well, anytime you want to just chat or whatever, you got any questions or want to just generally chat, then and let me know how you're doing, by all means, And I thought that was a progress for the sake of, if I can't help the previous two grandkids, I can help this one. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. That's awesome.
So the odd video by Debbie, hi Debbie in the chat, Ross Horizon. Yeah, with that great information, I'm hoping to send one of the videos off to my son's wife for her to look at and study. You right there?
Eric.
Sorry about that. I was having a moment.
We could tell. I say, hey, everybody in the chat. Hey, to the HRM weapons machinist, Debbie, Foxy, Aces, Firecat was earlier, Dud. Hey, you guys.
Hey.
Okay. And David was in earlier. He had to leave. His ribs were hurting him. He was in a bicycle accident and cracked a bunch of ribs. So
that's not good.
Yeah, he's resting. So hope he gets well soon.
Definitely.
In the snow, wrecked in the snow.
Oh my goodness, that's worse.
Nice.
Yes.
I don't think it was vanilla ice.
No.
It was vanilla. We got the Oscars coming on tonight. Everybody is dressed up like the red carpet. I seen some nice dresses. Like 3 minutes ago, I was checking it out. I love the suits and the outfits, because you get dapper there for one night only. Get your little awards for being great. I think it's all right. I kind of missed the Lux Awards. I thought that was real interesting when they came out with the.
I don't miss it.
I thought I would actually get nominated for racism.
Why?
Oh my God.
For being the most racist. But they cut the show.
Oh my God.
But somehow the show got canceled.
I
think my Black Power work was all in vain now.
I'm glad they didn't have it. So it's just the distraction. But you know, it's
was
good to
kinda
have fun. But that was not fun. That was, you know, more or less ridiculing people, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was because when they got to me and they did the Kool-Aid thing, the
I
Kool-Aid
didn't like it.
kind of racist, you know. But it was funny though. You know, racist was funny.
Eh,
Lord, we done ran out of weed.
oh God.
Talk, not quite racism, but I don't go in this. I went in this coffee shop, which I don't normally go in. It's a well-known one, which I know about the links to um, activity, shall we say, that the corporation, and I won't mention which one because I don't want to give it publicity. And I said to my lad about the logo on the cups, and apparently he likes his coffee. So in the city where they live, they're always going to this, you know, well-known places for their specific bean or like of their coffee. And I said to him, and there was this notice, this little leaflet I noticed on the board, and they claimed to be community friendly, this well-known chain. And I thought, yeah, well, I've already heard about the company and what they're really up to, and the logo really means if you
Yeah.
and but well, I won't bring up that subject within the public environment, but there was a guy cleaning behind me, so I noticed this leaflet, and I've seen the logo outside where I live, and it's all to do with claiming to be helping the learning disability people. And okay, right, fine, fair enough, little mini centre for these people to go. And it looked harmless enough from outside, but then I got closer as a waiting for my son and his wife, and I noticed the wording board. So I asked the guy, I couldn't quite read it, it's a bit small, the print, and asked the guy, well, what's this about then? It says about community, helping the homeless, because they deliberately cleared off the seating area around outside for the public to sit because of the new coffee shop. Yeah, not to put people off buying their coffee, and they put statues outside instead. So this leaflet, I said, the guys, could you kindly explain this to me? And he said, yeah, what we're trying to do. I thought, I posted it about it earlier, and I thought, let me think about it first, then post it, which I did. And it turns out that only going to use the vulnerable adults of the learning. There's all about in UK putting people to work regardless, yeah, the benefit system, and which is the targeting the vulnerable people first, which is totally conservatives all over. And I'm not political anymore because it's all the same. And so the way I explained it, and I re-looked up the leaflet, and it come right at me, and it jumped at me. And he said, yeah, when they've done and supported the people from the little centre upstairs, he says, and they've just about not opened yet upstairs. We've got our office as well upstairs. I thought, oh, here we go. They're all interlinked, this coffee chain. They're all interlinked, trying to get in on the contracts to help learning disability people. So I said, what's this about then? And he says, oh, we're trying to give them confidence to give them confidence to work like slaves with a coffee chain in a public arena. Yeah. I didn't say what I wanted to say, obviously, there, but when I got home, I bloody well did. And it's like, my goodness me, these families of these vulnerable people will think it's a great idea for their loved ones, but they don't see the bigger picture. Oh my goodness me!
It's like where I work. You know, it's some of them do need extra care, but there are some that are there. They could be living at home with their families, and I'm sitting there like, why are these people not with their families? Why can their families not take care of them? But unless their families are all dead, you know, that's the only way I can see that. But if they've still got family living, they should be taking care of them.
Oh yes, that is so right.
And it's sad.
because when I listened to one of your shows you did, well, just your own personal viewpoint, one of
Yeah.
your thing you did, and it registered with the viewpoint and personal note, because my sister's husband's parents have dementia, the label
Yeah.
dementia, what is that? So they were looking after them, and they sold the house, and they went and moved in with them and looked after them because they don't want to make it. They're very well off. My sister's husband, his family, well off. So they can't be bothered to take the time and effort to look after his own family, and he's gone and put them in.
That makes me sick.
Yeah,
You know,
same here.
my dad wanted to do that with his mom, but they wouldn't. His other siblings wouldn't let him.
It's
Yeah.
like I said to my lad, I said, don't you dare do it to me. I said, I'm not that old, but you have to carry
Hey
me out
man,
in a box.
New World Order, they want you to die before you get to that age. That's that's their plan.
Toxins, yeah, what they're doing with everything else, the food, the vaccines, and the weather, they're going all right about it, aren't they?
Yeah, they want you to have 7.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, it's just, oh. It's like Ace was saying in the chat about the documentary. I've seen that about the poppy fields and the military. It's very, that subject and that video documentary is good to check out. Anyone
Yes.
able
That
to
what?
link
Let
to
me
it.
see.
And when they
Kill the
bought
messenger. It killed the messenger
yes,
about the CIA bringing
yeah,
crack into the
yeah,
South, into especially South LA area. Yes, there's lots of good
yeah,
documentaries about that kind of stuff. Where it shows the government is bringing this stuff in, and like David
yes,
said about them guarding the poppy fields.
yes, absolutely. It's just when I saw them, I thought at first when I started, it was like a year ago, and I started watching it, I thought, no, it can't be. And then when you saw storylines in mainstream movies, and then I went to the original documentary, you know, not movies, and then yeah, it all clicked into place then. And then the part,
Yes.
because I thought it was conspiracy first, and I thought, what? Bring the drugs in dead eye GI body bags? What? And by Mexico on private airports, and then people are dying off if they find things out. What? Nah, can't be true. And then obviously start researching, and you find out a lot of
Yeah,
this is
the cartels
yeah,
work for them.
yeah, and then when because I found another link and that just popped up and I already saw the thing, so I didn't really watch it. And then another thing popped up this morning, and it was last night, and it was something to do with Alex Jones again, wasn't it? Someone's trying, I think he's trying a PR campaign for a reason, because he's like, the way he's got a good actor, he's a good actor. I'll tell you that, because he had this video. I got nothing against the individual, but I just don't think there's real information comes out. I think there's better people out there. But the way he did this new video recently, and about how he's been sued, about Pizzagate, that subject,
Who was
and
this?
how Alex Jones, you know, that presenter was big
Oh,
fan
well, he's full of shit mostly. So
of, and it
No,
got me. He got it's so funny in a way, because the way he portrayed it and the way anybody who didn't know any better would believe it, because he's such a good actor. The way he portrayed himself,
oh yeah, he is.
isn't it?
He's had years of practice.
Isn't it? Oh no! And it's like, my God! And the way he was looking into the camera, and the way he was trying to pin on your heartstrings, and it's like you're meant to have sympathy for what he's going through. What? Yeah, okay. It was just what? I just hope people wake up and don't take the bite for that one, because it's just another way for promotion for him. But it made me, because I had to watch the whole thing just to have a good laugh, you know. Because it's just like, what the hell? And he's going on the bandwagon again of fake news, isn't he? You know, jumping on that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
oh gosh, and Paul Watson is going on about, oh, and he's in England. Oh gosh, come on, how much are they making for all this? They're part of the control mechanism.
Yeah, they are the mainstream media.
Yeah.
They say, we're the alternative. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Now, I would say we would be alternative
Yeah,
because
we are.
we're passing from our own network. This is their network.
That's why they hide our stream
and
and
alternative
your video.
network to share news. But on these platforms, you get what you call the people's truth.
Yes.
Not necessarily the truth, but it's the people's truth.
Now we see the world,
Or
and we've
somebody
learned.
said entitled. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but everybody's not entitled to their own truth.
Oh yeah. It's interesting you say that, because today on the mainstream media, and I read it online, something I was looking for I think there's a different restaurant where we could go to today, last minute change of plan, and then I don't know how I'll come across this other link, and I've just clicked on it, and it was again controlled mainstream UK media about something kicking off in London and South London. And the word terrorism come into it, alleged terrorism. Oh, here we go. What they're going to bring in now? More control? Haven't they got enough? Fearmonger, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how, like they said, that's how they get all these laws passed.
Yeah.
So fear
Yeah.
everything.
And now your sources, but now because of what President Trump has said, now your sources or your credibility is being challenged again. Even after Brian Williams fucked up, apologized, now Donald Trump is coming back out and making the media deal with that shit all over again. Because I thought they began to work on their credibility, to work on getting better sources, where if I come out with some breaking news, it's some real fucking breaking news and not no bullshit. But now because he done came out with the new fake news, alternative facts, fact checking, you know, they got all these new fucking quotes to sell to each other. It's just like the race is on. The race is on. So in order for you now to dig into the truth, or you to get assimilation of truth, you got to somewhat come to these type of programs, or Sarnetta TV, or Baba TV, or come here and get it from us. But who is our source? What gives us the credibility? I mean, you know, is Google your source? Is Wikipedia your source?
No.
Because if that's the fact, that's still their source.
It's not that. It's you gather all this information from various sources, and you go through that information and you find out the truth in between the lines. It's always there in between the lines.
Hey, I'll take that, because my girl always say that, like, all right, go in between the lines. I say, babe, but they blurred lines though.
That's where the truth is.
It's amongst the blurred lines.
Yes.
Or the blue-red lines when you slow the word down. But yeah, you know, well, what is the truth now? You know, there's so much information out here. What really is the truth now? Because you got a counter to everything. I mean, I know that there's a good and a bad and a effect, but god damn, there's a counter to every ledger or link that is possible. If you say water is wet, it's a fucking link that say water is dry. I'm like, really?
If you see it, you feel it with you see it and you feel it. That's the truth. To me, anyway, that's if you
because now
feel in your heart that it is true. You know,
Right. Way before we trust a person experience, we'll say, hey man, Google said this, as opposed
I
to
would trust you guys over that.
and is that trust
Right.
gained? Is that trust earned? Or do you just trust people?
Depending who the people are.
Yeah. Because the people are giving us fake news, they people. So what makes our stuff more credible or more truer than the people that's on CNN?
Like I said, you feel
what
it.
makes them
You feel
wrong,
it.
makes us right.
If you feel it, like I said, if you feel it's true, you hear this person telling their truth. If you feel they're saying that with all their heart, they believe that's true. I believe you.
Yeah, and just be all right. Let's question this. For a teleprompter, does that not make it true? It may be edited, but does it still not make it
Well,
true?
this is somebody's telling them what to say.
Yeah, control.
So it's the truth as they want you to see it.
Right.
You can tell, like I said, by the feeling in their voice, whether they're sincere or not.
I do get that because the news originally it was given away for free for public service. They did it for
Right.
the public service by giving you the news free from the heart. But now, like you said, it's not like that anymore.
No,
You're pretty much paying for CNN if you got a cable bill.
right.
So, yeah. And then it's 24 hours, so you got to pay for it. It's a 24-hour network. News is on all the way around the clock. So, yeah, you got to pay for it. It's not a public service anymore. They're not doing the public no services.
They're doing themselves a fucking service. That's what they're doing.
Because they all night long.
Mm-hmm.
And they loop their stories.
Yeah, they do. I remember when I worked at the bar before, and they would have the news channel on. It would loop every hour or two, and I'm like, God damn! They really the programming, you know, drill that shit into people to get them to believe it. You know.
And if they didn't put it at the top earlier today, you would think that shit just happened right now.
I know. Yeah.
It's just like the BBC, British Broadcasting, licensing fees. You're paid to mind control, BBC.
Yes.
Oh my
goodness. Yeah. Well, guys, I hate to cut it, but I'm tired and stuff. But we can still hang around afterwards. But anybody wants to join after the still link, the link still be in the chat there. I'm sorry, but thanks everybody who's watched and everything, everybody in the chat there. So and thank you guys too. So
yeah. Well,
any last final comments?
No, you guys done well. Good show, as always. Hi everybody, bye everybody in chat.
Thank you guys. Much love. See us.